What's up, Shadow Army? Welcome back to Scene Decoded, where we break down the hottest anime moments that left us shook. And holy moly, Solo Leveling episode 12 just dropped the most epic fight sequence I've seen all year. So last episode ended with Japan's S-rank hunters getting absolutely destroyed by the Ant King. These elite hunters were completely overpowered, battered, and literally at death's door. It was looking grim, people. But then, that perfect moment when a dark presence emerged from the ground. Jin-Woo's shadow soldier had arrived, and I literally jumped out of my chair. The episode opens with Jin-Woo making his entrance, and let me tell you, the chills. His massive shadow army trailing behind him like this unstoppable force of darkness. Using shadow exchange, he literally teleports, and his army? Just standing there, menacingly, waiting for his command. And what does Jin-Woo do? Without hesitation, he calls forth Iron, who lets out this thunderous shout that reverberates through the entire battlefield. Jin-Woo just acknowledges Iron with this cool, confident nod before drawing his Demon King's daggers. The animation team delivered on Jin-Woo's movements. So swift, so precise. Each slash cutting through enemies with this ruthless efficiency that had me on the edge of my seat. Meanwhile, poor Dongwook is just standing there frozen. The man can't even process what he's seeing. The sheer power and dominance unfolding before his eyes has literally broken his brain. But Yunho gets it. He remains composed, watching with this quiet confidence. Because he knows everything will be fine now. There's this amazing sequence where an ant lunges forward, but before it can even reach its target, Igris intercepts, slamming it into the ground with this brutal force before slicing through another. And Iron? Iron is literally rampaging across the battlefield, cutting down every monster in his path with overwhelming strength. The tide of battle shifts completely. What was once a hopeless struggle transforms into an absolute slaughter. The ant horde that was dominating just minutes ago is now crumbling before Jin-Woo's overwhelming power. Then Jin-Woo gets this calculating look in his eyes. He smirks. You know that smirk, and raises his hand to activate shadow extraction. The fallen ants begin to rise, their lifeless bodies reanimating as new soldiers in his army. The cameraman filming this spectacle is in utter disbelief. This is truly beyond human comprehension. The broadcaster is demanding an explanation, but the cameraman can only shake his head, completely lost for words. The battlefield descends into absolute chaos. The ants, once unified, now turn against each other, slaughtering their own kind under Jin-Woo's control. It's a masterclass in animation and storytelling. Jin-Woo commands his forces to regroup. He quickly realizes no transactions can be made in this location, so he retrieves healing potions from his inventory and distributes them to the injured hunters. There's this brief moment of hesitation before they consume the elixirs. And then bam! Their bodies start rapidly regenerating. The other hunters are in complete shock at this miraculous recovery. Yunho staring at his hands, struggling to comprehend how his life-threatening wounds just vanished in seconds. But not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Dongwook notices something concerning. Unlike the others, Cha-haen remains unconscious. Her condition hasn't improved at all. Jin-Woo immediately assesses her injuries and recognizes their severity. This isn't something a simple potion can heal. And worse, she's actually deteriorating. There's no time to waste with more ants arriving soon. Just as Jin-Woo prepares to move, something changes. A crushing presence fills the battlefield, sending this wave of suffocating pressure through the air. Jin-Woo halts. His senses sharpen. He knows this feeling. It's something far worse than the ants they've been fighting. And then, he sees it. The Ant King has arrived. The battlefield, once under control, shifts once more. The creature steps forward, its gaze locked onto Jin-Woo. Its towering frame exudes pure menace, an aura of undeniable strength. And then it speaks. A deep, guttural voice cuts through the silence. Are you the king of the humans? Jin-Woo narrows his eyes, his grip tightening around his daggers. A talking insect, a powerful foe. The two stand face to face, the tension thick enough to suffocate the entire battlefield. The Ant King lets out this deafening roar, but Jin-Woo doesn't even flinch. Instead, a smirk tugs at his lips as he says, "So now you're finally acting like a real insect." The episode actually flashes back 5 minutes earlier to the coast of the city. Yui is staring at her phone in disbelief as the broadcast suddenly cuts off. Song Chiul asks about the fate of the hunters, but she can't answer. What kind of monster was that ant? In another part of the city, a news broadcast is sending shockwaves through viewers with this grim announcement. We see Matsumoto clenching his fists, the weight of the revelation crushing him. An ant capable of speech. An ant strong enough to kill. It's terrifying. His subordinates await orders, but he just grits his teeth, demanding to know the Ant King's location. When he learns it returned to the Queen's chamber, his frustration boils over. Meanwhile, at Jin-Woo's home, his sister Jinna walks into the living room looking puzzled. "Mom, what are you doing?" Her mother sighs. "The television. It just stopped working." Jinna frowns. "Where's Jin-Woo?" Her mother tries sounding reassuring. "He won't be gone for long." But as Jinna steps into her room, her eyes widen in sheer disbelief. On her screen, the battle unfolds. At the Hunter Association headquarters, Chairman Gunn is clenching his fists, eyes locked onto the battlefield. His subordinate urges him to remain calm, but he knows this is beyond ordinary. Back to the present, Jin-Woo now stands face to face with the Ant King. The beast moves first, attempting to crush him, but Jin-Woo holds his ground effortlessly. Their clash sends shockwaves through the battlefield, literally shattering the ground beneath them. The dust settles and the observers gasp. The Ant King scoffs, towering over Jin-Woo. "Weak, you are no king." But before it can finish its taunt, Jin-Woo spits out a single drop of blood, and then he smiles. Without a word, he activates Commander's touch. A dark aura swirls around his hand, and before the Ant King can react, boom, a single punch sends the monstrous insect flying. It crashes into the wall with an earth-shaking impact, debris scattering everywhere. The Ant King lets out this furious roar, completely enraged. But Jin-Woo is already moving. Blow after blow, strike after strike, his attacks land with monstrous force. The Ant King staggers, unable to comprehend what's happening. Doubt creeps into its mind as it begins to question itself. Is it losing? Its exoskeleton, once unbreakable, now bears cracks. This is impossible. Jin-Woo watches it struggle, his gaze unwavering. The Ant King is strong, perhaps even as strong as the Demon Monarch. But since that fight, Jin-Woo has evolved, and this time, he's not the underdog. The battle isn't over, it's just getting started. What did you think of episode 12? Let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe to Scene Decoded for more anime analysis. Until next time, Shadow Army, arise.